And so I know he'll be coming down in a minute or two to join us, but I thought we would go ahead and get started so that then we can get you out into the classrooms, which is really what this morning is all about. I really see it as an introduction to the lower school, and even more so a bit of a peek into a day in the life here with our students in Mission Hills. I am Kelly Tedrow. I'm the Associate Director of Lower School Admission. I'm also a current parent, so I have a son in second grade and a son in senior kindergarten. So it's lots of fun in our house, and this is my third year here at Parker. So I've worked at other independent schools outside of San Diego, and I'm now here in my third year. As I mentioned this morning, I really am hoping for you to get a chance to get to know us, to get some of your questions answered, and then also to be able to peek into classes. So when we're finished here in the library, for families that are looking at junior kindergarten for 2018, for September, we will go on a tour. I'll be leading that, and we'll check in on junior kindergarten classrooms, get a sense of what they're up to today, and then also kind of walk through campus a bit so you can get a sense of our older students as well as they transition about from their classes and so forth. Senior kindergarten, prospective families, same thing, only you'll be visiting a senior kindergarten classroom to get a sense of what that space is like, and then also see some of campus. I want to just kind of touch on some logistics, kind of where we are in the process, and kind of give you a sense of the lower school in general, and then when Dr. G gets here, I know he has some things he wants to say. This morning we also have Heather Gray, who's our assistant head of the lower school, so she'll be joining the tours as well. And then Jackie is here, Jackie Wilson, our director of enrollment, and then Courtney, who's our director of marketing. So great crew of people that are here to help answer questions. We also have two current parents that you probably met as you walked down from the courtyard. They are our lower school parent association vice presidents, and so they're going to be joining us as we walk around campus as well. So lots of great people to ask questions and get a sense of who we are. Here at the lower school, we have 430 students spread across junior kindergarten to grade 5. Each of our classrooms have differing numbers of students. So our junior kindergarten, we're going to start at a total of 48 kids. They're divided amongst 3 classrooms. So you're looking at 16 students in a class for our junior kindergarten program. In senior kindergarten, the grade level expands a bit, and so that's why it's also an entry point for us. And so we'll get up to about 60 students in our senior kindergarten grade level. So again, split amongst the 3 classrooms, so you're looking at about 20 students per classroom in senior kindergarten. As the students move into 2nd through 5th grade, we do have the capability of adding a student here and there. So the classes won't get larger than 23 in a classroom, and that wouldn't be until 4th or 5th grade. So in our youngest grade levels, we're really focused on keeping them really small. Junior kindergarten to grade 1, you have 2 teachers in each classroom. So the classroom teacher and an associate teacher are there to really start the differentiation that we continue throughout the lower school. So we're really wanting to make sure we're meeting the students' needs, challenging them, supporting them, so that they've got that great, strong foundation. In those classrooms, they're learning all about writing, fine motor, math, social studies, and their reading. Instruction is in the grade level classroom. And then they have special classes. And so our junior kindergartners will start off getting the chance to go to drama, to go to music. They're going to go to science. They'll come here to the library. They're learning both Mandarin and Spanish. They're in PE, they're in movement. So they are busy little people. They're not doing that all every single day, but each day is a different one of those special classes in addition to the core curriculum. Our senior kindergarten will continue with those special classes, and then we add art, digital design, and our woodshop design lab, which you'll get the chance to peek into this morning. So again, busy people as they move about campus, and they'll continue with those special classes as they move through the 5th grade, and even as they get into the middle and upper school, we'll continue with those different courses. Our JK to grade 3 students are learning both Mandarin and Spanish. And so by senior kindergarten, they're in a language class every day. They switch between the two. And I can say from personal experience, my children absolutely love both of those classes and they're having fun, which is a huge win for us in our house. They love coming to school. They're very excited about being here. They love learning. They're very much challenged, and they're known. And I think that that's something that was important for my husband and I, and that's something that's really special about Parker, is that our students are very much known by their teachers, by their special class teachers, by the staff that are out on the playground, by the after-school team, and so their needs are being met. Their different quirks are known and accepted, and that's really important to us. Before I go into the kind of application pieces, I do want to introduce our head of the lower school, Dr. Bob Gillingham. So I'm going to let him actually speak a bit, and then I'll finish up before we head out to the classes with some kind of admission logistic type of information. So I'll let you sort of get from here.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I just wanted to share with you, I just came from a student council meeting, which is always so fun. We have students in 1st through 5th grade. Now, 5th grade students serve as the officers, and a couple of them ended up as president this time. And that's important because from your perspective, your kids just beginning this process. A lot of these boys and girls were very shy coming in, afraid to try anything, afraid to separate from their mom or dad. They ended up, these two presidents in particular, a boy and a girl, ended up speaking to the entire community, 1,000 people in the courtyard at flag raising, which we have every Monday, giving their little stump speeches. And then we had approval voting, and all of them received tons of votes. And ultimately, 2 of them were so close that we made them presidents. But this morning, they were running a meeting, and I was just sitting back watching them do that. I point that out because that's one of the most significant things we hope to achieve on this campus. We want the kids to become confident, and it certainly takes confidence to speak to that many people. We want them to become critical thinkers. We want them to be very independent so that by the time they go to the middle school, you're not chasing them around to do homework. You're not having to remind them about anything. They've identified their place where they do homework. You don't have to assume responsibility for them, other than they are 10 or 11 at that point. But we really treasure when they're excited about moving up to the middle school, taking on additional responsibility, where they have 5 or 6 teachers instead of 1 core classroom teacher. We want them to be good thinkers, to be able to think for themselves, so that when they come into unique situations, they can figure them out, come up with solutions to them. That is, in fact, our main goal here on the lower school campus. We understand that so much of what's going to happen for them in their lives is different than the way we went through school, where there was a curriculum and you followed the curriculum and the teacher wanted to get through the curriculum. That just isn't going to be possible anymore with the influx of information, the way things change, kinds of problems, information they're going to have to sort through, just like the last few days, so much that they're going to have to figure out on their own and make sense of. We want them to be able to do that. So the short term for all of your kids would be that we want them to be so very happy about coming to school. The whole concept of school would be something that they embraced. And I could see that in the student council meeting this morning. Little first graders bringing up issues, that we had to discuss. Believe it or not, one of the issues was candy. They're seeing people bringing candy to school, and they feel like that's not okay. And then some of the teachers rewarding the kids with candy, which they're not supposed to do. But the kids ratted them out. So they passed a resolution that candy will not be allowed at school. This is this morning. Will not be allowed at school unless it's announced as a special occasion. For example, movie night, Halloween. that kind of thing. I was so impressed. And we went on to fidget spinners. They banned those too. They actually came up with the idea to have a form because they realized that these are actually prescribed in some cases for kids with ADHD. And they understand ADHD as well. They were talking about creating a form, which one of them is going to set up in a Google form and send to me. I thought, this is great, you know, I don't have to do anything. But it's that kind of energy, kind of enthusiasm, kind of free thinking that we want the kids to be able to do. And our teachers are so good about inspiring that on this campus. You'll see a design center, you know, where we don't know what the ultimate product is going to look like. The kids are working through our design process, and we actually do have a design process to solve problems. They're working in close coordination with the classroom teachers on several projects a year, so that at times we'll have 9 teachers all working with the kids on a given project. By the time they're 5th graders, for example, they will create an original play, a musical, on their own. They'll write the music, they'll write the lyrics, they'll direct it, they'll produce it. It's entirely on their own. The teachers sit back and assist them, but we really want them stepping forward and controlling that whole process. It's kind of a culminating event for us. Over the last couple of years we've done this, and it's been very, very fulfilling for the kids, but the teachers as well. One of the things we spend a lot of time on is reflection. Sitting in this very room when we began design thinking, the 5th graders were listening to each other talk about what worked and what didn't work so well in their projects. And it was amazing listening to them. They're in this more collaborative atmosphere. They are also more vulnerable, but they will say things that I never would have said, like, my idea was no good. I'm going to do what you did next time. I'm going to incorporate that into my thinking. And that's phenomenal. That's exactly what we're looking for. When we first began this design approach several years ago, we noticed the kids had a horrible time collaborating with each other. They're really good about doing their own work, getting it done. But when it came time to work with others who were squabbling, they reflected on that too. They said, oh, the beginning our group was awful. You know, we were fighting and we couldn't agree on anything. It's one of the key skills that they're going to need as adults. And so we spent a lot of time working with that. Now, if we ask the kids to get into groups, they'll do that quickly, not looking around the room for their favorite friends, and they'll just get into groups quickly, and immediately they'll be productive. So that's a long way off. That's 5th grade. But junior kindergarten, senior kindergarten, as I said, we really want to instill this love of learning. It continues into senior kindergarten, where the kids become a little bit more academic. They can sustain their attention on an activity for a bit. They can work on their own, which is huge at this school. You want the work that they're doing to be productive, real productive work, and while the teacher then can work with a small group, or the associate teacher can work with another group to really individualize what's happening. That's important because we realize these days we've got some students coming in at junior kindergarten who are already reading. We had a student last year in senior kindergarten who was reading legitimately on the 4th grade level. So you can't have them all in front of you when one is just learning how to read and the other one's reading chapter books. So we individualize. It's possible to have 20 different reading levels in a senior kindergarten classroom. And in junior kindergarten, we changed the name to junior kindergarten because kids were coming in reading, and we wanted to begin instructing them in reading if it was appropriate. We still get lots of kids at the end of junior kindergarten who are not ready to read, and we move them on to senior kindergarten where they learn to read. So we have a range of learners. We can accommodate them. It's the one thing that we work the hardest to achieve, and it's the toughest thing to achieve, truly individualizing our approach so that we're meeting every student's needs. I'll say one last thing. I'm not sure how much time you need.
Good.
Okay.
8:45 is when we'll.
Oh, okay. Well, in support of that, we've introduced map testing this year. It's called Measures of Academic Progress. We're finding that the kids are pretty proficient here, and the scores are coming up fairly high. But we're using it to track individual progress. And we're excited about it because it'll be senior kindergarten through 5th grade. So for a given student in senior kindergarten who's already showing us 99th percentile proficiency, we set goals for that child to move on. You know, we're not just going to let them spin their wheels in more time. So there are actual goals that we set in this testing. We're actually learning more about it this Friday. The company's coming in to in-service on all this data that we've now collected. So we know how to use it to the students' best advantage. So we probably won't be using much of the comparative data from other schools other than to help us help individual students grow. So we're very excited about that. One of the things that we do to make sure that we're continuously improving our curriculum is hire cool people like Heather Gray over here. Heather started as a 5th grade teacher here, 10 years or so. 11 years as a 5th grade teacher. And then we introduced a new math program, Singapore Math, which is called Math in Focus by Hoon Mifflin. We did that because we thought we were limiting our students' ability to really think deeply, conceptually about math. We also realized at the time that there were very few trainers nationwide, so we sent Heather everywhere to become a math specialist, and we pulled her out of the classroom. She worked with all of the teachers to make sure that they truly understood how to teach this new math program. And then eventually, once they were sound on that, we moved her into curriculum specialist. And she took a look at everything that we were doing. We've now closely identified everything we're doing and why. And then we made her assistant head of lower school. And she's essentially responsible for program. Heather, maybe you can say a few words about what you do.
I do everything. I feel like I have a ton of hats, like he was mentioning. We, in the last few years, have had a big school-wide push, JK through 12, to really capture our scope and sequence. What are we having the kids do from grade to grade, but also looking then across campuses. So we have a grade 5-6 connection, and a big part of that coordination to make sure that we are creating a curriculum that makes sense all the way through. So scope and sequence is a big part of what I do. Curriculum and evaluation, working with that is a huge part of what I do. Schedule is a big part of what I do, making sure everything is kind of as efficient as possible. But one of the things that I was also wanting to mention after Kelly was talking too is we always get the question, why Parker? And one of the things that I wanted to bring up was that I've got an 8th grader and a junior here who've gone all the way through. And they're those kids that were super shy. They didn't cry or anything, but super shy kids. They're still pretty shy, but they would be a kid that probably would have just kind of faded into the background in a lot of places. But here, the teachers really do know them and care about them, not just academically. They know about them personally too, and that makes a big difference. And when you're walking on campus, the kids are just happy. You can see the kids, you'll see it today when we're on our tour. Going from place to place, there's a lot of smiles and happiness here, don't you think? For sure.
Well, we've defined this came to me by mistake. I was a first-year principal 27 years ago, and I had so many discipline problems. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I thought, oh, this is not a good job. And then one of the fathers of one of the kids who had gotten in trouble came in, and he said, so what do you expect of these kids? I had to think about that. We had never really defined it. So we came up with Strive that summer on a drive to Colorado, trying to figure out how we were going to more carefully sort of define what we wanted the kids to know and how we wanted them to behave on campus. And Strive has encompassed our expectations and our values for students here. The discipline problems dropped off significantly. once we did that. That and not allowing parents to request placement. That was huge. Before I came, Johnny would go with Billy in class and not with Susie, and this was all parent-driven, and the classes were horrendous. So we put the class composition in the hands of the teachers with the request that they balance the classes. So we have 3 balanced classes. And we've done that for the last 27 years, and it's worked out beautifully. Parents can certainly say what they think is important in terms of a teacher for their child for the subsequent year, but we don't have blatant requests. It's worked out really well. So that was a revelation to me. It has resulted in kids who are comfortable, within a structure that they understand. They get in trouble occasionally, and we talk to them pretty much like this. They don't like to go to the office. The whole metaphor of going to the office is scary, even if they'll say, "Hello, Dr. G," as they're going across campus. The whole idea of going to the office means there's something happening. And when they do, very few of them return. I had a little boy yesterday return to the office. We had a boy come up yesterday, a 3rd grader, and he was just so sad because he had never been sent to the office before. And he was being a little pill in the classroom. So we talked about that and talked about how he never had to be worried about being sent to the office again for the first time, because he had been. And he visibly relaxed, but he understood why what he was doing wasn't contributing to everything we're trying to do here. And that's pretty much how our conversations go. We get a few frequent flyers, and we work very closely with parents when that's the situation. And parents have been super supportive about that. They may see some of this at home too. Over time, these kids change into these people that you just want to be around. And that's the longer view. By the time they're seniors here, they are so interesting, and they're interested in everything, and they are so articulate, and they look you in the eyes when they speak. It's phenomenal. My 3 kids were also lifers, 47 collective years of attendance at Parker, if you can believe that. It's a lot of tuition. But it was worth it. It was absolutely worth it. Best investment we've ever made. They are so fun to be around now as adults. The youngest is 30. And they have their own lives and their own ambitions, but it's just great to be around them. And they still have friends that from Parker, when they were 3, that they stay very close with. So that's what we offer, a real family that sticks together. Families deal with problems, and they solve them over time. And kids become strong because they know they have that kind of support system in place. All right, now it's Cordova.
Okay, so just really quickly thank you, Dr. G. Before we head out on tour, I just want to touch on a couple of sort of admission housekeeping pieces. Our applications did go live yesterday, so we are in our opening week of the season. It is an online application process. So if after today, you really feel excited and you're ready to apply, you can get started as soon as possible. It's a product that we use called Ravenna. So for those of you that had gone in to register for the event online, you've already created your family sort of profile, and from there you can access the application. You can also access registration to other events that we will be hosting. And so we will have academic presentations. You'll see 2 that are posted. They're the same presentation, just different times. So one will be offered in the morning, one's going to be early evening if that works better for your schedules. And that's really, I like to say, that's really more Heather Gray and Dr. G's show. I'm there to sort of introduce an MC. They'll talk through curriculum JK to grade 5. And so it is a presentation. There's no tour that's a part of that event. We also will have our open house. That's going to be on Saturday, December 9th. I encourage you to come and bring your children with you. This is the one admission event outside of assessments and so forth that children are included, and we would encourage you to bring them. The other coffees and presentations are really parents only. But the open house is an awesome time to come to meet all 3 of the JK teachers, or all 3 of the senior kindergarten teachers, meet our special class teachers, really start to get to know the faculty a bit. We also have 5th grade squires that I get to work with who are so excited to take you on a tour and share with you their experience. So it's a fun morning that's meant to just be very much an open house to come and get to know us a little bit more. The application does require some different pieces, so you'll see that as you work through it. One of them is the assessment. So I just want to quickly touch on that, and then we'll get out to the classrooms, because I know that's a common question for families. Our junior kindergarten students are required to complete an assessment. It's a Saturday playgroup. So it's about an hour that the students are here. They're in one of our 3 JK classrooms with junior kindergarten teachers and other applicants. And they get the chance to really have sort of a mini class experience. We do time on the carpet. There's some fun activities that the teachers have set up for them. It gives us a chance to observe them in that setting with peer students and see how they navigate the space and so forth. So it's meant to be fun. The students are in the classrooms by themselves without you. So you will arrive here in the library typically. We get the students all set with their teachers. They go to their classes and the parents will stay here. And we have some just comments and you can ask questions and so forth. And then we return the students where you've left them. So they'll be brought back here once they're done. For senior kindergarten, it's a little bit different. Still a Saturday, and you'll see there's 3 different Saturdays you can choose from. Part of the morning for SK is a one-on-one kindergarten readiness assessment. So the students do meet with a teacher and we administer a readiness assessment for them. And then the other part of the morning is the playgroup classroom piece. So they do spend time in a classroom with our senior kindergarten teacher, and they get the chance again to sort of have that mini lesson type of experience. And they, again, are separate from parents. So that's the assessment piece. As I mentioned, you'll see once you get that application in, there's 3 dates you can choose from. You only need to pick one. You don't need to come 3 times. And just know that, I mean, I have young children. This is not the first time. If someone's sick or something like that, we can always make it work. So please don't stress about the assessment. It's an important part for us to get to know your student, but I think it's also a really important time for them to begin to get to know us. So that's the admission kind of key pieces I wanted to touch on. We do ask that parents complete those applications by February 2nd to be considered a part of the priority admission process. If you have additional questions for me, I will be in the auditorium courtyard, so that's where we're going to finish up here when we're done. And so I'll just be hanging out. So you're welcome to catch me afterwards, and if I'm leading your tour, please feel free to ask questions at that point as well. In the materials that you have on these tables, there's some really great information. The Parker Profiles is a new piece this year. It's awesome. It's such a great kind of inside look at who we are at Parker, who our alum are, our current teachers and students. It's a really, really neat piece. And then there's information in the back about transportation, about financial assistance, and about the lower school more specifically. There's also my contact information. So again, feel free to take whatever you would like. For those of you that are interested in junior kindergarten, I'm going to be leading that tour. And so I'm just going to head out to the main door. So please feel free to grab something else to eat if you want, to refill coffee and so forth, and then we'll meet outside the double doors. If you're looking at senior kindergarten, then you'll want to stay in here, and Heather will lead you all. And then just really quickly to clarify, so junior kindergarten, those students need to be turning 4 years old by this coming July. So by July 31st, 2018, they need to be turning 4 to be eligible to start in September of 2018. For senior kindergarten, it's 5 by July 31st. So that's the age distinction if there was any confusion on that. But again, thank you so much, all of you, for coming. It's a great way to get the season started. I hope you enjoy your time here on campus and feel like you really get to know us a bit more. And then, as I said, if you have individual questions or more that you'd like to know about, I'll just be hanging out in the courtyard there and can answer questions as long as you need me.